like even up to play, still had over 10 big lines. I had like 11 big lines. I just waited. And, yeah. Well, I could have waited for a better spot. Like I was in small one at pocket five, and the guy from the button, and he had jammed like that. He's always been raised, and he like just opened jam. It was really weird, and I had watched, and I ended up like taking it for a minute, and then I called and pocket seven. That was a spot I could have avoided if I just folded because he was obviously strong. Like, I knew what he was trying to do. We wanted to talk about trying to get that guy to call because that guy was I should have thought about it. Shoving him to the wall. Right in the head. He depends. Out I go. Fall into this. I don't mind that yet. I grab him. And now I'm listening to him scream, you gotta move! You're gonna die! So now I'm showing up. But to be honest, I think I made out good. Because I made out the only place that did not take compared to like I got if I would have got second, I would have got like 5,000 or something. They said anything above 5,000. There's like 4 ranks like that. Started out at class 5, was 4. I wish I was. I wish we'd have all shot.
Do you think those targets like that are pretty soft?
We've had people fall out in the middle.
I mean, it's all stuff to make up for the fact that oh, okay.
Quick season,
40-minute level.
All the way around. The only thing you see is
the sickest tournament I've ever
just take everything else. You hear us, you see paper, that's it. Nothing else.
Tournament of the month.
Oh, you're hitting the $500. Okay.
This must be me. Pick this card right there.
I got it. Nuts.
Come on, baby. Kingdom come. See the one that's left right. Jack off. What?
Okay.
I'm going to get my shades out of the car.
You're going to need them. Even their regular ones, 235, 30
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of mad because we played the 200 the day before, and there was only 33 entries. Like I was really Friday.
Yeah, go to the Saturday. The Saturday ones are always a good one.
Well, that was the 500 day.
Is that all these 500?
No,
the last
just once a month. The other ones
It's
are
kinda like
230 or 235. But it's 25
They're all
days.
like
25 days, 30 minutes long.
Where is that?
Right next to right down.
What?
Like 2
I was mad. We started out, it was like 4 tables. It started out 4 tables.
If you take me out today, that's it.
And then people were late registering, but still, it was only
You and your sub.
I had this most roller guy at my table too. Ended up, I got it all in with him. I had ace jack and queen.
I had to move them last week, all out inside the door.
It's like 4 bets with queen jack. And I called. What's that?
Hanging out on camera with Paul Boss.
It seems like.
How you doing today, Paul?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Like compared to the shoes.
What's the who's top 3?
Heard any good jokes lately?
They're too tight.
No?
And then they're moved.
No. Bree supposed to chime in.
Anytime they put money in the pot?
So, as I watched the episode last week, I got to see you and bantering back and forth about my dad.
I don't want to.
I agree. I think I did really.
Right at the end, I thought you.
Well, at the very end there, I kind of moved in. I didn't put Robert on a bigger hand to check that, and when he checked, I just all in.
You know when he's going?
I think we're in a different hand.
I'm not sure. I just at the end.
Well, at the end I watched. I let him. I was ahead a couple times and let him. Let the other players, take me out with hands that I shouldn't have. But to me, they were kind of marginal hands. So I just figured I'd let him go and live to fight another day. Second place. I can make a joke there, but I won't. It'll be nice to you.
Because I'm not sure. I might just
That's all right.
I did, however.
Unfortunately,
I feel kind of bad because I took a leg out from under my horse last week when I knocked Bobby out in 10th place.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be I think right now it's pretty much a 4-horse race, and Bobby's still out.
Absolutely. I saw Dan and Corey were tied for points.
Bobby and then Mark is just a couple points behind Bobby.
So at this point, it's anybody's race, and Dan has the luck of sitting to Corey's right. this evening. I don't know if you call that luck or not, but we'll see how he plays it.
I'm interested to see how Dan and Corey both. Well, Corey, I know will play tighter. Dan, let's see if Dan does. And Bobby and Mark need deep runs tonight to still have a chance.
Absolutely.
You guys good in the studio?
Perfect.
All right, I think I'm going to get things underway. Welcome everybody to game number 11, season number 4, Chase the Bracelet. We have all players, no substitutes, and let's see, who is in the lead? All the fingers point to
we have
Corey and Dan.
Tied for first place.
Nice. Oh, Marco's all in already.
Probably the best chance he has.
We'll be getting it started here. 18-minute blinds. Blinds start at $25.50. Starting stack is 6,000 in chips, and we'll get it going. Shuffle up and deal, train.
Welcome everybody to season 4, episode 11. Next to last week. Things are winding down here.
You can see we have a little different view of the players tonight. I'm trying a little bit of different equipment out for you, just to get that clearer picture at home.
Raised to 150 by Corey.
Corey raises with pocket 8s.
Just one time I get full one time.
It's going to be tough if Corey can hit this hand and continue to play hand after hand right at an 8.
8s were a big hand early last week.
8s did play very well. I got in, with 2 players ahead of me and happened to catch a really good flop.
I think what did it for you was Bobby's full house on the river.
Absolutely. That hand definitely played it.
You can no longer put me all in.
So did you listen last week? And a little different in here last week without you.
It was a lot different, I noticed. But you Trevor, and Bobby definitely took care of the action. I think it was nice to give Bobby give you guys that helping hand.
Well, he enjoyed it quite a bit.
Good. Maybe I wouldn't necessarily say he's better suited for the booth because Bobby's definitely an excellent poker player.
He cashed again huge Saturday night at Rivers, third place, $500 buy-in.
You definitely can't argue with his success rate.
Corey gets a walk.
It's 2 hands in a row for Corey.
Robert to act first.
Definitely on fire.
All the green ones.
So far it's been 7-4 offsuit and 9 deuce offsuit.
I actually had both.
2 of Dan already whining about his hands. 2 hands in.
Wouldn't be the same if he didn't.
15 minutes, 56 seconds left in the blinds. Action on Robert.
Marco with ace-queen here. Not a whole lot else going on, though.
I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but last week out of that, in the first blind level, I always typically play a lot more hands.
Well, I mentioned that before we even started, I think, that you'd see you play a lot of hands early.
For me, it's just the price is right for me. I think you start with 10,000 in chips.
6,000.
And start at 25.50. What is that, 100 plus big blinds? So there's a lot of room in 100 big blinds to play in. At least for me.
Ed to act first.
What is? Yeah, if you're going to get... Oh, man, I'll take it up. It's right.
Rob with kings.
And Paul with 7s. Let's see if Paul tries to be aggressive. You might even see Dan getting caught in the middle with an ace-jack.
Oh, yeah. Dan will absolutely. Imagine playing ace-jack.
I'd love to see Marco
Paul
play my
raises to
favorite
150.
hand.
Is that like half illegal?
Call.
So Dan calls 150.
Let's see how big a huge overraise Rob makes here.
Going up.
Does he jam it in?
Well, if he jams, he's definitely going to have to stand up.
What do you got there, Ron?
Wow. That's a very conservative rating.
Paul got out of the way with the sevens. I'm not.
See the Dan folds his ace jack.
I'd love to see Paul play that hand.
That's like me being surprised people call me.
I mean, I think it was what, 350, 450?
300 more.
Yeah.
3 more.
So,
Yeah, I would have seen a flop there. See if you can spike the set. You spike a set there and it comes a 9 high board, you double up against Rob.
absolutely.
You're still in third after 2 horrible weeks.
Max stack next.
You must
I mean, you're taking the same gamble that he is with his
Yeah.
player, so.
And you're only losing 300 if you don't. If you don't hit it, you just let it go.
Mark with pocket fours.
Well, Max said if he plays one more hand and doesn't get quads, he's going into the booth and Chris is going.
Yeah, exactly. Or kings or.
Mark raises to 125.
To be honest though, like I felt bad about that hand. I should have just called.
Paul calls.
There's no reason for him to raise my whole set. That was my mistake. I could almost have my set.
Paul calls with a suited ace-3.
Robert calls.
Because at first I was trying to like justify, like, oh, he could have did that with ace-8 or ace-7.
Ed calls.
But there's no point to risk.
So we get 2 ace-3s, a pair of 4s, and a 4-7.
And I think the 7-4 is at the internet hand.
It's queen-7.
Oh, that's queen 7. All right. I don't pay attention to a lot of the names.
That's your average starting hand, queen-7.
Paul and Ed currently in the lead.
Paul bets 325.
Looks like Ed let it go.
Everybody
let the
folded.
top pair go with no kicker.
Button moves.
I don't hate that fold.
Robert to act first.
I really don't.
Not with the
Bobby
3
Miller.
kicker.
Well, yeah, and Paul leading out.
Paul's image is just
Yeah. He's never betting payment.
You know that's all over YouTube?
We have a fact checker in the booth right now.
I spread it.
Uh-oh. Ed with aces.
Ed catching hand pretty
Max
soon.
with king queen. Paul with ace 10.
Which is very popular.
150.
Paul raises to 150.
And Paul raised to 150 with his ace 10.
See Ed flat call here.
Well, if he does, he prices Max in the call, and that's when you can get hurt.
Raised to 450 by Ed Wurgler.
If
Max
he was the
calls
big
here, Paul
blind.
needs to come along.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul.
Max lets it go.
Paul folded a pair pre-flop to a re-raise. Let's see what he does with ace 10. Yeah.
Dude, we talked about that.
Paul folded.
If you're going to be folding pairs, you've got to be folding ace 10 re-raises.
I wonder how often Paul feels bullied at the table.
Mark to act first.
Corey racing under the gun.
Ball raising 2 cards when he gets cards, right?
You know, he's getting bet out at, and he has to feel like he has the best hand most of these times. It's just his personality.
And he was just crushed both times, too, though. Kings versus 7 and aces versus
Paul raises to 225.
Paul with ace king again, making it 225
ace
to go.
10. Let's see what happens here. Ed might be. Ed's the only reasonable one here to play.
It's not good for TV. We should start taking them off.
That's right. Mention in the booth that I don't play the hand yet. Mr. Paul here.
You're talking.
We have not mentioned that Marco has yet to play a hand. The unfortunate part is that he announced that it's something you want the other players to figure out on their own.
That's what she said.
What would be nice, what would be really nice is if for once the well doesn't dry up.
Paul to act first.
If I get cards all
Suited
night.
Dan with king, queen, of clubs. Max with ace.
Max getting a little last week's spot.
These are two players that I like to get in the hands against each other.
Rob with a suited 4-6.
There's two calls.
Bobby with a jack nine.
Exactly. I was just going to say. if
Dan
I'm Bobby,
raises to 175.
I might come in with a jack 9.
There's a diamond, a spade, and a heart. Somebody's chasing the flush. I got hold. My aces are too good. This isn't no good. Damn it! Why can't somebody give me good cards?
Max calls 175.
Ooh. Wow, Bobby doesn't even.
That's definitely a hand I'd probably see a flop with there.
Well, he's out of position.
Mark calls
He doesn't
175.
like to play hands out of position.
He's definitely playing for a deep finish tonight.
Well, I know this much. If we see 3 clubs, we're going to see a huge pot.
Suited Dan in trouble.
300 bet by suited Dan.
Max should just call here.
They were left behind yesterday. Or
Nice
last week.
call.
Someone left their glasses last week.
I guess with their
Nice
bodies.
call. Queen. Queen or king here would
They were-
just.
Tony, thank you for holding my glasses.
They're not yours. They don't say cover girl on them.
Dude, whip.
See, now Max needs to bet.
Yeah, but it was funny.
I don't pay attention to these details.
If something didn't come out there to
750
give a
bet by
big
Max.
draw, he could have checked behind.
Suited Dan folds.
Max.
Doesn't,
9 winner.
doesn't get to see his quads on the river. Good try, kid.
Well played that time, I think.
Absolutely.
Button moves. Suited Dan back first.
My kid loved when I explained when I was when he was younger why they call it King 9 sawmill. Yeah, you ever hear that? They call it the sawmill because even the guys at the sawmill aren't coming up. You guys never heard that?
Sawmiller's Union is on the line.
There goes sawmill. Sorry, if there's any union people watching.
Bobby with queens, Max with fours.
Rob with Queen 10. He's going to be in late position. Later position, I'll say.
Hey, I worked in the yard yesterday. I got my
This is a hand.
worked in the yard. Very
Robert called 50.
Yeah, it's a hand he plays a lot.
Those grades are a lot bigger than I did.
Max raises to 225.
You gotta dig a little.
Max.
Little
No chance to win this hand.
Less than 1%.
Bobby with queens on the button.
Raised to 600 by Bobby Million.
Don't know what to call him.
You're almost right every time there, Tony. I think Max will let this go.
Max calls.
Oh, wow. Didn't think he'd call that. That's a big raise.
A queen 4 flop would be trouble.
Oh, that'd be.
With an overcard to Bobby's queens.
Don't touch your cards.
Yeah, Bobby will bet here.
Don't touch your cards.
Max's first act.
This is where a better player is just
Bobby bets
bets out, hoping
650. Max
to
folds.
see if the ace is there or not. You check it, you just don't know. And then if he leads out on the turn, what do? Now you find out by betting out. It's like a hand last week against you. Paul had jacks,
Corey to act
taking
first.
an ace high board.
And he
You,
was afraid to bet
checked it to him, and he was afraid to bet. You bet him off the hand. Where if he raised pre-flop and the ace comes out, if he makes a continuation bet, you just go away.
I have to go away.
Yeah.
With Paul's image, I have to fold to the ace. I have to fold for the same reason he does. Not a lot of action here. Dan with an ace.
Who played Omaha heads up with another guy, and he spotted him a card. So
Oh, I did hear about
yeah,
that.
the other guy got to play with 5 cards. Wow.
Really?
That's how confident he was that he was
Well,
gonna.
he lost 20K. But I mean, they were probably playing.
Which one lost the 20K?
The guy playing with 4 cards. But
Dan's
that's
probably gonna get a
good
walk
result
here.
For the stakes that they were playing. 20K.
I'd like to see Paul raise.
Within the realm.
No, he'll
Paul
never
calls.
raise.
I just
this is where Dan-
love to see pure bluff out of him.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna say once he limps in,
Dan
Dan's raising.
raises 200 on top. Takes it down.
I mean, Paul just sets himself up for failure.
Market
there.
act first.
Oh, absolutely.
You know that if you limp in, Dan's going to raise, and he just lets it happen. I kind of played on that a little bit last week in some hands against him. I had him and Rob to my left and was able to make some bets and take some blinds.
Corey with 4s in early position.
I did say out.
No, he's a blind.
I didn't say out.
Yeah, he's a big
King,
blind.
queen.
Yeah, because Dan was just a big blind.
Max with an ace-7.
Max raises to 225.
I love the aggression. I didn't have a lot of that last week from anybody else, so I definitely took that role. And I think it helped that I was able to eliminate Bobby early.
Dan folded.
Later in the game, Corey
calls.
So, and started making some aggressive bets with a lot of all-ins when we started three-handed. So.
Corey checks.
I think Corey's going to check call here.
Corey might not feel
Max
like
bets
it, but
275.
definitely in the
That's a
lead.
board I'm not. If I've got a pair, I'm going to call.
No, you pay attention to that stuff. That's not what counts.
Not what I'm supposed to. Now see, that's you.
Yeah, if I got a player I know that's going to see bet there, I'm gonna check call him with that board.
Absolutely, but sometimes with a board like that, you have to cut off that bet and not allow them to make it.
I don't hate that either.
I
Corey
think
folds.
it was a good time for Corey to make a raise, or to make any bet at that point. Even repeat the
First
same
act
bet.
will be Robert.
Just throw it back out there and just kind of see what's happening.
What's that?
Robert, 2013 Tough Mudder finisher.
Hey.
Whoa! What the heck?
Baller status.
Wow, that would be funny.
I can do that whenever I want those. Wants to do just tell
Dan
me
with
that,
an
yeah,
ace
let's
rag.
go with it.
Nobody catches anything when Dan catches a weak ace.
See if he raises it up. If it should get around to him.
I mean, I'm not seeing any bluffs at all.
I'd have raised an ace there without even hesitating. Corey raises his jack 10.
Everyone seems to be playing so tight today.
I think Marco is trying a new strategy.
Definitely the wrong time for it.
See, the live stream should have like a beeper or something, like a buzzer that goes off like every couple minutes to wake people up.
Right. Or like,
Well, yeah, commercial comes on.
anytime there's a flop, they go beep beep.
Right.
Suited Dan.
With a big ace. Bobby with an ace 3 suited. No doubt he'll play that.
Corey with a king queen. King queen is trouble.
Paul calls 50.
Paul limps in with king 9 off. Paul just tries to see so many
Limps in
flops.
with two players
Yeah.
behind.
Raised to 225 by suited Dan.
He just tries to see too many flops for just minimum all the time.
I mean, I don't mind seeing flops in this short level, but if you're going to see them, you need to see a lot more
600
than
total
he
by
does.
Corey.
Corey raises to 600. I think he's going to be taking advantage of Dan here a little bit on this.
Or he gets to act after Dan every time,
They're
except
both,
for one.
Dan's
Dan
calling
calls.
this time with ace jack. The last time he got re-raised with ace jack suited and folded. And Corey flops one of the two kings.
Action on Dan.
But that it makes
Checks.
it so Dan can let it go. Makes it a little easier.
800.
800 bet by Corey.
Dan can't call.
I've seen Dan make calls before that I didn't think he could.
Suited folds.
He's just like he hit the jack there too.
I just have to say, Paul Moskowitz looks so much better in HD.
Top set.
Oh, look at that. Split screen.
Blinds are up 5,100. 16 minutes, 50 seconds left in the blinds.
Ed with ace queen, Max with sevens, Paul
Max stacked
with
first.
twos.
Well, then Viper was talking about some guy.
Twos are okay. Corey
Corey
with
with
ace
ace
king.
king suited.
A lot of action this hand.
325 bet by Max.
There's a lot of aces and queens gone already.
We've yet to see Mark or Marco play a hand.
Mark hasn't had too much, I know that. Marco hasn't either.
750 now.
Corey makes it 750.
Corey
raises.
getting involved early.
Now I let an ace queen go. I wonder. Let's see what Ed does.
Yeah, when
See
there's
if
a
he
raise
feels
and a
behind.
re-raise, ace queen shrinks up a lot.
Action on Ed.
You got to be thinking pair and ace king when there's raises and re-raises.
That's okay.
Ed folds.
It's an exact coin flip here.
Yeah, this is a hand where I don't know. I'm not afraid to let sevens go in this spot.
Max calls.
Nice. 10, 9, 4.
Max checks.
Max, the original raiser, should have c-bet there. He did get re-raised, but with a board like that.
900 bet by Corey.
Corey usually does not do this early without a big hand most of the time. So
This is what you're not counting.
Max calls.
oh, see, that's what getting stubborn with little pairs.
See, I like the call, but I would have loved to have seen him bet out.
Well, see, I didn't like the call pre.
Corey bets 2,000.
Especially against somebody like Corey.
Two overcards to your pair. You've given up the lead in the hand. You have to let it go. I don't think he wants to. I think he still kind of questions his play, but I feel kind of like I should have taken Robert out with quads last week.
First act will be Max.
That was the tournament set.
Right. Max, your big blind, Max. Bobby, none.
Sorry about that. First act will be Bobby.
Yeah, you know, Steve came yard.
Ed with ace, Max with ace 9.
See if Max tilts it all here. He is big blind. If Ed raises, let's see if he protects his blind.
Oh, I didn't realize they were both the blinds. Yeah, that could get interesting.
Just little dynamics like that
See if Rob,
change hands.
yeah, see if Rob tries to steal here.
Should. He absolutely should with the queen 6.
Right.
Robert raised to 375.
This is where Ed needs to put in a big re-raise. He's got to put him on a steal and re-raise it.
Max them up.
Raised to 800 by Ed Wiggler.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Robert's going to let it go.
Yeah, but
Love to see him play it.
I love the re-raise though.
I'm not one to feel
Robert
bullied
Foltz.
by someone else at the table. If you're going to re-raise me, I kind of like to play back with mediocre hands if I can. But if I feel like I'm absolutely beat, definitely going to let it go.
Mark back first.
But some hands for me are definitely worth gambling.
How much you have behind?
Shut up. Thank you.
Queen 6 off shouldn't be won.
Oh, Queen 6 is my favorite hand. Suited, unsuited, I'll play it all day.
Let's see, Mark finally gets an ace here. Let's see what he does with it. Yeah, early position, he's going to fold it.
Probably doesn't say much for the rest of my game, but we still got there last week, Paul.
I
Got
know
one
you
for
did.
us. We got to show these young kids that we still got it.
I don't.
Bobby with a 4-5 offsuit here in the big line.
Walk it out.
And he gets the walk. Even gives us a little song. Still yet to see Mark come into a hand.
Or Marco.
It's a very quiet evening so far.
Well, and Mark, in his defense, knows he needs a deep finish, and
Paul Dang
he's not
first.
going to get involved. I mean, as soon as he gets a reasonable hand, I'm sure he's going to play. But there's no reason to get involved with it.
See if we can get Marco here with the Jack Queen. Max with 7s again.
Me and Paul have the same
Same what?
bike.
Does it say cover girl?
Chance at quads here.
Crazy. I can't believe you.
Nope. Ed's got one.
Everybody's got a chance
Marco
at
calls,
quads, don't
100.
they?
Nope.
No, no,
Ed
there's a
has a
7
7.
going.
Yeah. Well, I did just purchase it, so that's the only reason I did it.
Other than that,
Ed calls.
I don't even know what that
Max
means.
calls.
Yeah.
It's the 8.2.
It's a Jack 5
Still
going.
get out there in my first big ride just the other day.
Does that one have disc brakes?
Yeah.
That's why.
Mark is in the hand.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have this break?
I got the one right below the.
Oh, okay.
Mark flops top pair, Marco flops second, Ed flops third.
What I didn't even really.
And Max is caught in the middle.
With 2 overcards out there, he's just crushed.
I rode a bike to a.
And it goes check,
All players
check.
check.
I knew I'd have to adapt.
Spade draw on the turn for nobody.
I'd like to see Mark bet these ace now, because he's going to get called by Marco, for sure. Maybe Max.
Now you just
I think Max is definitely going to let 7s
Mark
go
bets
after,
250.
after the last time. I think Marco just hasn't played a
Marco
hand, so he
calls.
definitely has to put some money in there now.
trail that goes, part of it goes along Route 8, and then it goes down, eventually it works.
Yeah, Max does let it go.
Ed and Max fold.
3 outs for Marco,
You can actually ride on route 8, and it goes for a long time.
and that's not one of them.
There's food and stuff you can stop along the way.
Mark shows ace for the win.
Right on the shoulder, man.
Did that go check,
They
check?
watch out. They watch out.
Suited Dandak first.
That's why you have a mount right here.
Out of the saddle.
Yes, it was.
What was that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we're like kind of interested.
Just
It's the feds.
So we need to get you an earpiece for that, I
I
think.
would have liked to seen a bet by Mark
the way
on
we
the river
communicate.
What if
there.
they talk through that instead by accident?
Small one. If Marco had an ace, he was betting flop.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Max with a suited 9-10.
That never happens.
Now that's a hand I
Or
definitely
Marco
would play.
bets 4-9 off.
Exactly. Just say through there,
I don't hate raising it.
Suited connectors are very valuable.
No, they wouldn't ask that. They would just.
325 bet by Max.
Good raise.
Marco's playing, call him up.
Max has not won the hand.
Paul
The
calls.
screen is reading incorrectly. We'll keep you updated
Nice
as we
shot, PJ. Max flops an open-ended straight.
See you, Robert.
Max bets 325.
see if Paul gives the kid any respect.
Wow.
Raised to 1100 by Paul Moskowitz.
Wow.
Max can't believe it.
Paul never does this, though.
Never.
Never does this. I love it.
No. Oh, Max.
Paul calls.
Let's see what happens.
So let everybody know this. Wake everybody up. Oh, I'm in the hand.
Paul bets here. Max can't call. Yeah.
Paul bets 1200. Max folds.
Nice.
Terrible turn card.
Did he show deuce?
Show the deuce. I'm very impressed.
Oh, that's even better.
Or ace deuce. No, it's ace deuce.
I think at this point it just looks like Max is just ready to tilt. Just wants to.
People catch on. I doubt it.
I was worried
There's no way
Jack
he's
or an
calling
eight.
it. There's no way
And
he's
that's all you can do is just sit there and just take it.
There's no way he
Wait
calls.
for the next one.
Did he call 7 deuce?
No. He's calling with it's ace deuce.
Corey Dack first.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Like, there's no way.
Rob with
Newman
aces.
with aces.
Unless he just got an
Marco with king jack. He might play.
Ed has
I've
seven.
been watching how
I
I've been
think Rob's probably going to make a huge bet here.
Marco raises to 300.
Marco raised.
Robert will
So
probably make it like 1,000.
I now
he's got to, really, with that many people behind.
Call 300 by Robert.
See, that's just trouble.
You're
You would have never
With
showed
that
up.
many people behind you.
asking for
Yeah.
the
Because Paul Boston told him to.
7
Ed
people
calls 300.
left behind you to come along.
You're just pricing people in.
He's into the Cleveland Steamer?
Luckily, nobody's got anything they can even get in here, really. Oh, wait a minute. Suited Dan's got queen 4. That's good enough.
300 against Marco, Rob, and Ed.
Apparently, he likes
Playing some crazy cards
Suited
can
Dan calls.
absolutely get you there.
Oh, yeah.
If you get the feeling that everyone else is playing tight,
Boy, here comes a
you
queen
see that-
4 flop. Rob will never fold.
See that they haven't been in that many hands. and
Yeah.
It's time to play some garbage for the money.
That's one thing about if you slow
Dan
play a
Dack
big
first.
hand like aces, you got to be able to fold it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Rob flops a set.
And Dan flops a flush draw.
All players check.
Ouch.
And now Dan's got a 3 here. Would just be a
Robert
killer.
has to bet here.
Robert bets 700.
Oh, Dan's priced in.
6. I believe there's 1,200 plus in the pot.
1250 in the pot.
1,250.
Yeah.
Suited Dan calls.
Yeah, Dan.
Prices
Marco
him
folds.
in.
3 or a diamond for Dan.
Ouch.
Quad aces for Rob.
Ask and you shall receive.
Robert
Here
bets
comes the
1,000.
gloating.
Quad aces.
Everybody's getting quads.
Dan knowing if he could have hit that 4
No,
or
he knows
diamond.
he gets paid off. Absolutely.
Diamond maybe not. 4 absolutely 3. Whatever it was to make the straight.
I'd like to thank Train for proving this game is not rigged. The people who want to chase the bracelet staff do not always get quads. They're
Marco
not
back
the only
first.
ones.
I was playing so
We do give it to the players every once in a while as well.
Rob with ace rag.
No, that's why, yeah, that's what exactly. That's exactly what
Let's see what he'll play this.
Robert calls 100.
Yeah, he loves
crazy
those
how like,
hands.
tight everybody was playing and then
3 minutes, 28 seconds left in the
After
blind.
quads, you have to play the next one.
Well, he would have played it whether even if he had lost the game.
Dan checks his option, or calls the small blind.
Corey with 2-5.
Corey checks.
Well, it seems like a lot of like recreational
Dan with the suited 2-gapper here.
playing poker that don't really. Like the whole field, even cash.
Nobody flops anything. They check it over to Rob. He's going to
Robert bets 300.
Not good. Like they seem like they just come to have a good time and buy in and just keep buying in. They're losing 300.
Takes it down.
Do you know Misty? Misty there?
Robert tapped first.
She's dealt for us before, right?
You'll notice her by the nails.
She was on this show for a season, and dealt once or twice. She runs the medallion.
I know her. I know her.
Well, she was playing Rivers tournament, I guess.
Oh, is that what, it was the Rivers that she was in?
Yeah, because when I was trying to reach you, but let her know.
I probably knocked her out.
CCPL.
Corey with an ace king.
I saw later on Facebook. She was
Not too much else going on here.
Mark raises to 225.
Mark trying to steal at the wrong
Corey
time.
calls.
Oh, Corey just called with ace king.
Marco folds.
King here would hurt Mark.
Corey way out.
See if Mark makes a C bet here.
All players check.
I'm gonna have to watch that before you.
Now Mark picks up a diamond draw. I would have liked a continuation bet there by Mark when Corey checked.
You have to just bet sometimes.
Yeah.
Corey bets 350.
The cards will not always win you the hand.
I think Mark has to call now. But I don't know.
1 minute left in the blind.
If he knew how many diamonds were gone, he probably wouldn't.
Probably not. 6 out.
Oh my God, Paul, it's
What's the river? We don't see it.
Deuce of spades.
2 of spades on the river.
Bobby, I think I know
Let's see if Corey bets here. If Mark raises him,
I quit.
there's no way.
I know. Now you got Bobby telling you what to do.
800 bet by Corey.
Corey really
Mark
taking
folds.
advantage of some of the people that are close in points here so far.
Ed Dack first.
Mark lost the lead by not betting the flop.
This hand blinds are 5,100.
The downside is Dan doesn't seem to want to gamble. There's a lot of players tonight that don't seem to want to take those chances.
It would be a fun episode.
There's a lot of times you got to be willing. If you start it, you got to be willing to finish the bluff.
Huge brawl, right?
That means firing 3 shots at it and missing all
Oh,
3.
yeah.
Sometimes you got to take them.
Yeah.
Because then if you continue to do that, you're going to get paid on your bigger
Paul
hand.
calls 100.
Right.
Marco calls 100. Robert checks his option.
And then next week you come in, sling on.
I was like, what'd you say to me, Marco?
Marco in the lead with an ace.
See, if I was in 3rd or 4th place here, I'd be doing like Corey.
Paul bets 300.
Taking advantage of Corey and betting at him. Yeah.
Robert
Bobby's
raises
in a
to
really
800.
good spot to make plays.
Right. Because you got to get some
500
chips
for
and get
Paul.
a
Let's switch to
deep
call.
run in this thing.
Getting back to you.
Paul folds.
Yep, lines up.
Sure is a lot quieter in
Max
here
stack
this
first.
week.
Blinds are 75, 150.
Well, there were 3 of you.
It's never quiet anywhere Bobby is.
Never. He's the life of the party.
And you get Trevor and Bobby together, it can get crazy.
Rob with a jack queen.
Corey with an ace-8 suited.
Then it turned it into matching aces.
Suited down to ace-7. Ed with 6-7 suited. That's another hand I like to play.
But he can't beat that.
I
Paul
like to
calls
defend
100.
that kind of hand.
I don't think you can beat 2 ace of diamonds.
Paul calls 150.
Damn, we gotta talk to somebody.
Corey
Suited
put
Dan
some chips
calls.
together tonight. Early.
Raised to 500 by Corey.
I think he's using that really tight image late in the season, and he's definitely coming out of his shell to play a lot more hands.
Rob calls with the Jack Queen of diamonds.
Let's see if Corey loses a couple, I think he'll probably slow down.
Yeah, I agree with you, but till he does,
play it until
it's working to his advantage so far.
Sprint as long as you can.
Breathe easy.
He likes deuce too.
Paul gonna call with the 5-6 suited, huh?
Love it.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, what's got him today?
Yeah, that's what I thought. There he is. There's my Paul
Dan Foltz.
Moskowitz. And this one could cost Corey a little bit.
Corey with middle pair.
See, why wouldn't he check
1100
here?
bet by Robert.
Why wouldn't Rob check here?
Because he's Rob. I think he might still get paid off.
I don't know if he will or not.
Corey's got a backdoor heart draw. I'm sure he's not factoring that in, but that's the type of hand that I would play.
He might be raising here. Rob will move all in if he raises.
Corey's very methodical with his raises.
2600 bet by Corey.
Robert not gun shy at all.
Yeah, Rob will never fold top pair.
And let's see if he shoves.
I would be surprised if he didn't. Be a great play not to.
It's standard for him, I think.
Is he really thinking about folding here?
If he only knew how far ahead he was.
I love Corey's luck too.
I think he's just waiting. I still think the only thing on Robert's mind is I'm going to shove, but when?
I really think he's thinking about. I've never seen him take this long. That's why I think he's thinking about folding. He usually acts so fast.
He hasn't made one motion towards his cards at all this year.
He likes it when I do that thing myself.
Corey looking very confident.
Robert folds.
And he lets it go.
Yeah, Corey was looking very confident.
I think Corey should have showed an ace. I think it's at that point that you just let them wonder if he had ace-queen or aces.
I would like to see him just
Bobby B. Million to act first.
really.
I mean, unfortunately, we see it from the
Right.
good side, but I definitely don't like Robert's fold.
Well, I don't like it just because you're out of it. You're out of the points. You know, try to get some chips and win one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bobby with ace king, Ed with ace 10, Corey with threes, Rob with
with
nines.
nines after losing a big hand.
Bobby raises to 350.
You know, it's always different when you're sitting in the game, and you know you have to take into account what just happened to that player, the last hand or the hand before, and are they still steaming? Are they so much to it?
You know, Corey's been playing a lot of hands, and
I think Corey has probably played more hands this game than he has the rest of the games combined.
yeah. And I was just going to say, if he keeps it up, there's going to be some
Corey
people
calls.
calling him.
Well, the best part is the hands that he's playing are decent hands.
Robert calls.
Oh, yeah.
He's just opened up a lot sooner,
Yeah,
which is
and
amazing.
betting and re-raising, and
Ed folds.
He's
just
definitely
love
going to
it.
get a call.
I love the way he
Bobby
plays.
Max calls.
at 350, and Max coming in with an 8-9.
4 players.
Ace King there.
Oh, and Max wants the straight.
Max in love here. Look, he's praying. Thanking God for that one.
Yeah. It's always nice when you play a piece of crap and flop gin.
And he's just watching Robert commit chips.
Robert bets 1,200.
I think his pre-flop percentage was about 3.
Max announces all in. $1,600 for Robert to call.
This is where Robert shouldn't make the call.
Robert calls.
And does.
Max catching a break in this hand. Max with the win. Jack,
Like a double up there, Max. I guess if you can't win with the bad hands, win with the crappy ones.
See, the thing with me though is my quads went from a small stack and continued to grow until the end. Robert, just after his quads, seems to go down the hill.
I think he was on tilt for holding that hand to Corey. Because he never should have made that.
Mark Cutrofello to act first.
You bet your 9, somebody moved in, you let him go.
He's like, I'll check so you can continuation. No, I'll check so you can bet.
Bobby bet his Ace King that hand and let go after Robert's bet.
It's a good thing you don't check.
Wait, you check twice?
Marco with Ace 10. I think you're going to see Marco play a hand. It's been a while.
400.
Raised to 400 by Marco.
And that should take it down.
I want Bobby's blind. I want Bobby's blind.
Can I give him?
I'm, you know, no, he gets no chance.
Marco, happy to take Bobby's blind.
You're nothing, Rob. You're nothing, Rob.
One way to get chips from him.
Paul Moskowitz to act first.
Paul's definitely slowing down playing King 9 after losing a few.
I still love the Ace Deuce of Hearts.
My mom walked us right out of the theater.
She did? I remember one time, it's like a 2-second thing. It's the jello going and
She was like, gas. Grabbed me and my
So we
brother.
got Rob with an Ace 3. He lets that go.
You can see 15 people get killed. That's what they do.
Thought we might see him
You're not kidding. My
raise that
grandparents
up
let me
there.
watch like horror movies. Like Friday the 13th. As soon as a boob popped on TV, I had to leave the room. I can watch him slaughter, 50 people in a row.
Bobby raises to 400.
I think Bobby's raising 100% of the time.
Takes it down.
Small blind, no matter what he's got. When he's folded around to him, he's just going to raise.
when I saw that witch smell, I was freaking out.
Suited
The
down at
first
first.
two is playing
I'll let him go early. But when the blinds start to get bigger, I'll get tired of it.
Absolutely. If you try and steal too many times.
Yeah, I was through in. If I lose, I lose.
It's Paul playing Ace King out of the big blind here.
Guess I'm gonna have to read joke.
He's the
It
comedy.
always seems to be, though, when the time I finally stand up is when they actually have a
It's the
hand.
time that they,
They got queens like that.
I'm sorry.
battle of the
Didn't
blinds.
quite come across like you intended.
Definitely respect your elders.
Ah,
He's holding up.
Mark raises to 375.
Don't mind him.
Let's see Paul fire back.
I absolutely would love to see him re-raise.
Say, don't push me around. I have a real hand.
Paul raises to 600.
It's riding in the back of the school bus.
No, remember, he's underneath it, cause, that's the one where it's from Stewie's
But
perspective.
Paul doesn't re-raise very
Stewie
often.
view or something.
But it's questionable because it's such a small re-raise.
Yeah.
So is he trying to represent that big hand? Ace king, ace queen, ace jack even. Medium pairs, sevens, eights, nines.
Nice fold.
Mark folds ace
Nice
9
fold.
off.
And
Paul shows an ace.
let's Mark pick a card, and Mark picks the ace. And Ozzy was out the kick there.
I always show Mark. Come on, I think it's a tag.
No one's against it.
Turn your head this way a little bit. You got like a hair hanging.
It's like flying like you're on stage.
Turn this way, turn left a little bit. Oh, I think you got it.
Nope, it's still there. It's still
No,
there.
It's on the other side.
Marco giving grooming tips at the table.
Wait, I had to look and see if you guys put ink on my fingers.
That was great.
We're magic. We did that.
Corey Dack
I
first.
think Marco is going to help Paul with his manscaping in the game next week.
I hope not. Marco with an ace king.
Max with a queen jack of hearts.
And Mark.
Bobby with a 7, 8 of spades.
Marco raises to 425.
Mark with ace jack.
Bobby mathematically ahead here.
This is a hand I'm not sure Bobby will play. Yeah.
Mark Cucciafella calls.
Well, good night, everybody.
Suited Dan calls.
Ace jack 10.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I cut him bracelets.
Queen 10 jack.
You can have a couple wins.
10 4 7.
And suited Dan flops the best hand.
Suited Dan takes a huge lead.
All players check.
Mark with almost no chance of winning. Suited Dan with top pair and straight.
500 bet by suited Dan.
Bobby would have caught 2 pair on the turn. To a check.
Mark's smelling shenanigans here.
He thinks he smells shenanigans. Dan just looking at him.
This is the one you want to let go of, Mark.
I am a crush.
Show the other. Yeah. I win.
Showing cards. Have some free information, Mark.
Well, Bobby, you'd win if you would have played. A very playable hand.
Marco Dack first.
But I wouldn't want him more than I would.
I wouldn't have lost any more than I would have.
That's the most amazing
Revelation.
that you've had.
Suited Dan with ace 8. Oh, Rob with aces again.
Sadly, though, this is a time where you want
Robert
to see
calls.
aces get cracked. Same player with them. We'd love to see him win all the time. But I'm a fan of aces going down in flame. As long as I'm on the good end of it.
I call.
Oh, yeah, he chop blocked you guys.
My favorite Family Guy was the
Flop.
the
No,
backward one.
you were saying
Yeah,
Mark.
No.
This is the hand that
Suited Dan calls
I really
150.
hate calling call out of position
What
with
if
ace
Corey?
rag.
And Peter
What's Corey gonna do here?
I think he's folding.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
First, I just started trading. I
No,
know.
he's
Corey's
not.
raising.
So easy on the beginner.
Raised at 5.
Raised 2-5.
Corey raises to a total of 500.
Oh, just call here.
350 for both players to call.
That's beautiful.
Robert calls.
That's beautiful.
Suited Dan calls.
Suited Dan called a raise and a re-raise here, I think. Oh,
Corey flops
oh,
the winner.
Suited checks.
check it, Corey. Check
Corey
it.
checks. Robert checks.
Ace on the turn. I'd like to see Corey check again.
I would too.
All players
Wow.
check.
Robert with the ability to check it.
A jack or a 3 here.
Twice.
Unable to see the river.
What's the river?
Sorry guys, it's okay.
Jack of diamonds on the river.
This could very well get him paid off.
600 bet by Corey Mikesell.
Corey
Robert
only
calls.
bets 600. And all Robert
I
can
think
do.
Dan might call here too.
You have to feel like somebody's got
Yeah.
a jack or queen.
Suited Dan calls.
Obviously somebody has a queen.
I mean, I don't.
Well, you got what you asked for.
I don't understand how Robert can just make a call there.
On the river?
On the river.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trouble you get into with just smooth calling aces.
Edward
I still,
first.
I like to play. He just got unlucky. I didn't think there was any way in hell Dan would call. So I love when I
Sorry,
think I
it
can
is
get the
Robert.
heads up. I love just sitting there with aces. And I'll tell you what, he played it well.
Yeah, Robert tacked first.
He lost the
The
minimum.
minimum, yeah.
Without a doubt, he played those very well.
I don't know how to play this game.
Marco with a 9-10.
But we'll make sure to tell him how bad he played him on break.
As some kind
I
of
mean, at that point, like,
I mean, it's like
you're only gonna get called by a jack or queen
Right.
when you bet.
Yeah, and I kind of bet all their top pairs. So
He's very lucky
Suited
he
Dan
didn't bet
calls.
the turn.
What do you mean conflict?
'Cause I think I would have bet the turn there.
With the aces?
So, like you do with
Absolutely.
cash flow.
the Marco all his hands do basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Marco checks his option.
Okay.
Both players check. 200 bet by Marco.
Dan with
Call
the
by
gut
suited Dan.
shot draw. Marco makes 2 pair here. He's in trouble.
400.
I'm surprised what you were.
400 bet by Marco.
No thought behind it. He just throws the money in there.
Suited Dan folds.
He wastes no time to get that money out.
Ed Dack first.
See, there's where I'd have been happy to check the river on the second pair. A straight draw got there, a flush draw got there.
I think at this point I had it helped in eliminating 2 or 3 people.
By this point, I think we had lost 4.
We were heads up within the hour.
Yeah, we lost 4 before first break.
Max with a suited 3-4, Bobby with a suited 4-5.
Dan with a suited 69.
Definitely something you would notice, Paul. Our middle school references.
Dan calls 200.
I just was mentioning it because I knew he would play.
Marco calls the 200 and Robert checks his option.
Heart flush here would be funny. Uh-oh.
2 hearts.
Marco and Robert check. Suited Dan checks.
Heart. And now Marco's got the lead with the 7.
Marco
Dan's
bets
got a
300.
straight draw
Robert
and
folds.
a flush draw. Oh,
Suited Dan calls.
heart. Heart.
Sorry.
As we root from the booth.
Check.
Marco checks.
Can you throw my change closer to
Yes, sir, I can make sure I try.
And I throw my change over here.
That's a problem with playing them crap hands like that. They just bleed you dry.
Marco ahead with 7.
I don't mind playing them every now and then, but if you play them every time.
Max stacked first.
You don't hit one of them, you're going to get out quick.
Try to steal a chip by putting a piece of tape on the bottom of the glass.
Yep.
Have
Have your chip for good luck.
Yeah, for good luck.
What?
Put a little piece of tape on the
It's
bottom.
usually like a hot girl
No.
or something.
Yeah.
Walks around like, oh, let me tap your chip for good luck. Takes off the top shit. I'm out of here.
She taps 1,000.
Bobby
Yeah.
with 9-10 suited.
Good luck.
Suited Dan with Jack 9 suited.
Don't think 9-10 is a hand, Bobby.
No, not in early position. He won't do it. That's what I was saying about these hands. He'll let him go a lot.
No, yeah, left the
Sudan calls 200.
Stay stuck to the table.
And I'd much rather Suited Dan raise him than just call with him.
Robert calls. Ed checks this option.
You're giving 10-5 and 3-6 a chance in the hand.
Yeah.
No.
Ed takes the lead with his 6.
And on Dan should bet.
All players check. All players check.
I usually for the first hour.
Everyone afraid of the board?
He just gave up. Yeah.
All players check.
And 6. They come to the table with like a glass of Coke or whatever. So when they
Ed takes it down.
Ed, in just as much shock as we are that a 6 took that down.
I think a bet anywhere, except maybe the river, wins the pot for Dan there.
Bobby B. Million to act first.
the best of them for us is strike cash and the has no cash value chips.
Is that how you pay him?
Hey.
That is hilarious.
Max with the Jack King, Bobby with the
Or you take one of those like 89-cent cards. You know, like
beautiful hand. He's getting this beautiful city connectors.
He's getting him in a position where he doesn't want to play him though.
It was the $25 from the tournament. And then we're playing Cassie goes it out. I thought they were going to he turned me red. They go, what the hell? Well, you go, what? I found it on the floor. I thought it was a...
You can get in trouble. You can get in trouble though.
I know. He did. It was pretty convincing.
No, I'm saying you can get in trouble for picking up money and using it. Like you're not supposed to find money and be able to keep it. You have to turn it in.
Ed and Max in.
You know, when they used to
I lost some money.
they would get mad when they used to have the bar, like the, where you put
Max
quarters
flops
actually in the
top pair
machines and the poker things. If you would go in and try and do the trade.
Max bets
if you took
200.
money out and they caught you, they'd say that's the bar's money. You can't have that.
Ed
Because
folds.
there's always inevitably people would put coins in and they'd miss and they'd go through to the change part.
The reason is because they say they can find whoever it is by looking back on the camera and find out who dropped it or where.
They're gonna do that.
I'm saying that's the reason behind.
They're splitting it up among
They're saying
the
that's
security guards.
Meanwhile, you can think there's fools that are like, oh, we're not going to the camera for that.
And then when you realize that, you know, it didn't match the other people's 20 back, he's like, holy crap.
Nice.
No cash. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ed with an ace-10.
Queens. He's getting some big
He's
hands.
definitely picking up a lot of hands. They just don't all seem to pay off for him.
Most beautiful concert I've ever seen.
What did they tell him?
They were pretty good. No one really bitched about it. Six got a good laugh at it.
Robert raises to 650.
If he's going to get a call, he's going to get it out of Ed.
We're at playing catch.
That's a big raise, isn't it?
He better be called.
I don't remember.
Because if you're just calling, that's no big deal. You say, oh, and you put a real.
What are the blinds right now,
Try to
Frank?
bet and people pull behind you, and you're like, wait a minute. Now, what if you put it like that?
And
Well,
then
wait,
he-
what if
then
what
he
if
says,
the big
"Oh,
one's
we
like
need
that?
to
So
be
like,
with that."
you know.
You just awkward.
Or 3 people call with a big chip also.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that-
Ed calls 650.
I called that.
The worst thing that ever happened to me at the poker table, this is when 7-card studs, we were playing that way, so this is ages ago. And they played at Horizon in Tahoe with a free button, so if you won the previous pot, you didn't have to pay whatever the blind or the ante.
Robert all in for
Roll up kings.
12.5.
And the guy, everyone folds, and even the guy with the free goes, oh.
11.25.
The buttons, I didn't even, nobody, even the guy with the free.
If Marco would shut up, you guys could hear.
Yeah, they can't.
Ed can't call here. I'm not sure about the call pre-flop at ace-10.
Well, I think he wanted to take
Ed folds.
Just kind of seeing if he can hit card.
It's another one of them hands I don't like calling raises with.
I think we should keep this for the next season, so the same cast.
Please date him.
Well, everybody but Marco.
Minus Rob.
Dan's here, I'm not
We
telling
have felt that way ever since season 1. We get used to everybody, and then it's that force thing, actually.
I think so far Suited Dan and Paul Moskowitz have been in all 3 of the previous seasons.
Dan didn't play in one common.
Paul Moskowitz has been our only player continuously. Rob Newman, I believe, started in season number 2.
Paul announces a race.
No, he was in season 1.
500.
So Robert has been here the entire time as well.
I'm not sure. Yeah, he won season 2, right?
Yes, and Paul won season 3.
Yeah.
Came out like a couple years ago. Olivia Wilde's got it all. One of those like
Folds over to Mark.
pretty good actors.
Mark folds.
There is like out in Iowa.
Paul raises it up and takes it down.
Guy from Modern Family.
What are the blinds right now?
100, 200.
1-2.
He's this like prodigious butter carver. They have like this.
I guess Rob's grays wasn't quite as big as I thought.
And this little girl is adopted by this little black girl is adopted by this like super white Iowa family, and she has this gift for butter carving. And she goes up and competes against this guy's wife.
Action on Dan.
Marco and Ed vote for piece 4. Suited Dan with King 8 suited. Let's it go.
No, that's great. Well, it's sunny out now, guys.
Ed raises to 625.
See, no, I like that. If you're going to play that hand, raise it up.
625.
From here on out.
And I think against those blinds, it's a great time to raise.
Yeah,
Against both Mark and Paul,
12 hours of time is really worth it.
it's a good spot to pick to
I might get
raise.
less
See outside.
That's why I bought the bike, because I'm like, I gotta get outside and do something.
Ride the bike.
You should ride the bike too, because Dan will steal it.
Quarterback first.
Over the summer, I'm gonna do a lot.
6 minutes left in the blinds. Blinds are 100, 200.
Well, like, I'm gonna get lazy and...
I ain't gonna ride it.
No.
Yeah, it just helps if you have another person to tell you a badass.
Well, that's why, like, I won't go out and run.
Suited Dan with ace
I hate
and 9.
motivated to do it, but like if I have like a bike, I don't even notice that I'm actually like working out or getting fit.
Oh, I'm sorry, get that from my mouth.
I think if Bobby raises here, Suited Dan will absolutely call.
450.
450 bet by B Million.
Bobby was his name. Bob. We call him Bob.
Dewey.
Suited Dan will call this, I think.
It's Bobby 14,000.
Bobby 14,000.
Is that a call?
Yes.
Suited Dan calls.
We call him Bad Bobby.
Just a reminder
Both
of
players
my
check.
favorite hand. A little pop up on the board there.
Suited Dan a big favor here.
Both players check.
Just check again. Now, Suited Dan.
Let's see if anybody wants to take the lead.
Both players check.
Suited Dan takes it down.
Well, I knew not to bet. I should have bet though. No, I mean on the flop. I'm saying on the river. I should have.
No.
I was kind of just running around.
Well, that's why I thought you had it there, because you look like you want to do it.
Looks like we are definitely in it for the long haul, folks.
Marco Dak first.
And don't forget out of here at 9 o'clock tonight.
I think people watched The Walking Dead today. I hope you have that on record.
Good quality.
Season's over.
Oh, okay. It's the glory of not having cable. I don't have to keep up with things like that.
That's the unglory of not having a life. I got this and TV.
And one of them only costs you one time a month.
See, Dan calls.
Commentating
Corey
doesn't cost
calls.
me anything.
Absolutely not. Oh, I thought you were talking poker in general.
No,
I was
just
giving you some
commentating.
credit, Paul.
Yeah. I'm about ready to quit poker again.
Again?
200 bet by Corey.
I'm playing so bad it's just pathetic.
Suited raises to 700.
Sometimes you just have to play through the
Corey
bad.
folds.
At least it feels that way anyhow. I'm sure that there's
Oh,
nothing that's
yeah.
happening. However, it feels a lot better when you play through those downswings.
No, I know. Sometimes I
Robert
just need
Tack
a
first.
break.
2 minutes, 45 seconds
Have to
left
do
in the
your
block.
best to minimize your losses.
Even talking about her now?
He never has a second bowl coffee, huh?
Were you deep in the mud?
I was face deep in the mud.
No, it's just one of them things I make her read and go with it, and I'm just
deep into that dark tunnel.
Well, you like it too? You
like
like
a
it too?
fraction of an inch off in the read. I'll know they're weak, and they'll have me out-pipped by one on the kicker.
These are those things you have to pay attention to. Ed with an ace king, Corey with a suited jack queen.
Are you sure it was a chick?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a chick.
What's her name, Lisa?
Ed raises to 450.
It was my experience with Ed last week is that he wasn't raising unless he had some pretty decent hands.
That's most of the season has been that.
He seems to have been playing very tight.
He doesn't make many moves.
I hate all you guys.
So I was definitely worried when Ed started building up a chip stack, but then Robert just seemed to not be able to go away.
Yeah, Rob was down to next to nothing at
1
one
minute,
point.
26 seconds left in the blinds.
Ed takes that hand left down. Max's cards just
Action
didn't
on
fold.
Ed to act first.
Let's see if I wonder if break's going to change anybody. If somebody's going to come back and fire a little more. Definitely not seeing anybody taking a real aggressive lead.
Well, there's 4 people here. Well, Corey was there for a while. He built up a pretty good chip stack, I think.
You're done, make sure you count the chips.
So he's looks like he's definitely switched gears, but might be time to put it into third and give it a little gas.
I think he may have realized he was on the verge of playing too many, and he was going to start getting played back at.
Five straight.
Well,
Suited
Corey
Dan.
raises to 500.
Oh, Corey raised.
Oh. Corey made it 5.
Is he stealing one before
he
break?
stole the last
Blinds
one before
fold.
break.
Doesn't matter if he's stealing it, he gets it anyhow.
19 seconds left in the blinds.
We have one more hand.
One more then.
Max stack first.
Ed with jacks, Max with king queen. Now this is definitely the hand where you feel like Ed might be stealing.
Max calls 200.
You know he's going to raise out of the big blind.
Yeah, I really hate the limp in early position with king queen.
Suited Dan calls
You're
200.
going to play that, raise it.
Raised to 900 by Marco.
Marco raises to 900 with ace-5 off. Ed in the big blind with jacks.
See if we're going to get a re-raise out of Ed. I've never been a fan of getting up before hands were done,
Oh, I love
even
watching-
for breaks.
Yeah, I love watching how they play out.
Ed raises to 21.
Nice.
Especially if a big hand like this happens. Ed
Takes
takes
it
it
down
down.
Nice
with the
play
bet.
by Ed.
Ed makes the right play, raises with jacks, and doesn't have to show a thing.
That's right. play and there were 2 players behind him.
Absolutely.
You got to protect your hand.
So we will be back here shortly in about 10 to 15 minutes. And we will hope to not have Paul Moskowitz's beautiful face in the camera when we come back.